Another week, another game on the chopping block, and believe me, this one's a doozy. So buckle up and prepare to check out probably the most unintentionally funny horror game I've seen this year. By the way, I'm currently in the process of moving out and most of my stuff is at the new place, so if there's the tiniest bit of echo or something, that's probably why. It'll be another week or two before things go back to normal. Well, relatively anyway. I initially thought I had covered every Halloween game on my list, crossing them off like some kind of scary Halloween version of Santa, which I suppose is what Krampus basically is, now that I stop and think about it. And there is one horror game that I meant to include in October's roundup, but it kind of just fell by the wayside. Not necessarily because I didn't have time to do the review, but honestly I couldn't be bothered to play even the majority of it, let alone play it to completion. I'm of course talking about Remothered Broken Porcelain. And before I go out of my way to address some of the more substantial criticisms, of which there are many, I'm going to stop and nitpick a bit here. When you hear the name Remothered Tormented Fathers, the name of the original first game in the series, that actually sounds like a decent horror game name. Like the kind of name you'd expect for a horror game released in the mid-2000s for the PS2, Xbox, and PC. Comparatively, when I hear Remothered Broken Porcelain, it just sounds really underwhelming. It's like hearing Remothered Torn Fabric, or a Remothered Twisted Frame. It just sounds like you're doing some kind of Freudian random association experiment, just mixing a random noun and a random adjective together to see what sounds like the best, or least worst, combination. I don't doubt that there is some correlating story element that explains the bizarre name, but I just couldn't be bothered to find out the truth of the matter. At the end of the day, it must be said that the nomenclature here makes no sense. This game is probably one of the buggiest, most rushed out products I've seen in recent years. This game is so buggy it makes Marvel's Avengers look by comparison like a technical masterpiece. If anything, Remothered 2 comes across as the more visually impressive successor to games like Ride to Hell Retribution. Things just happened in this game with absolutely no rhyme or reason. There are a handful of genuinely decent, I wouldn't go so far as to say good, but decent jump scares. And the level design lends itself well to what would be some decent moments, if the AI was capable of pulling it off. By the way, it's not. However, if there's one thing that really separates Remothered Tormented Fathers and this newest installment, Broken Porcelain, it's the AI. The AI in Tormented Fathers wasn't perfect, it was fairly easy to manipulate and evade. But it would stalk you, search for you if you were in hiding, and in general be very active and kind of annoying in patrolling the entirety of the limited-sized map. The AI in that game wasn't what you'd call Alien Isolation quality, but it did retain similar characteristics, and a certain degree of depth, creating the illusion of actual intelligence. In this game, the AI is almost completely brain-dead, and chase sequences often end within a handful of seconds, compared to the earlier game where pursuits could last for up to a minute, if not minutes at a time. The only minor improvement I do have to give this game some minor partial credit for is that the AI is more likely to investigate hiding spots. If you didn't play the previous game, this plays out almost identically to the Breath QuickTime event from Alien Isolation, where in order to silence the sounds of your breathing, you have to move your mouse or thumbstick around to remain within this closing circle, and maybe press a button or two at key moments in order to avoid detection. I'm completely lousy at this activity, so I suppose it's a net gain benefit for me that the AI doesn't usually put two and two together and correctly identify where I'm hiding. Yes, that player who was running away from you and around the corner literally less than 4 seconds ago, where could they have gone? Did they A, go through that locked door on the right, B, disappear into thin air using their mutant powers, or C, are they hiding in that one single clothes closet 2 feet to your left? Cue the Jeopardy music. I can only assume that this is the eternal logic processing in the non-existent minds of the AI antagonist characters, because no matter how you spin it, none of the AI's actions make much rational sense. And in a true classic survival horror game where there usually is a lot of emphasis placed on ensuring the AI and level design both work as intended, having one or both of those two critical gameplay functions compromised in quality results in a lesser product. Now, while the AI has deservedly gotten a fair amount of my attention so far in this video, it's not the only thing that's up on the chopping block. Let's talk about the level design, shall we? By the way, for the sake of simplicity, I'll be just referring to Remothered Broken Porcelain as Remothered 2 and its predecessor, Tormented Fathers, as Remothered 1. It just becomes unnecessarily repetitive to say the full game name all the time. As was definitely the case with Remothered 1, Remothered 2 retains the Resident Evil-esque map structure. We start out with a very small confined portion of the map, and very slowly over the course of getting certain objectives done, you unlock access to more and more of the map, almost one single corridor or one single room at a time. However, on top of this, you'll also be spending a good portion of your time doubling back to previously unlocked areas to advance the story, or what I suppose is supposed to resemble a story. I honestly wish I could show it, because it was really funny, but during my initial attempt at playing through the game, I invited along a couple friends of mine to sit in and experience this iconic masterpiece for themselves in a private Discord livestream. We were honestly so bored watching the initial skippable cinematics, explaining the story up to that point, that we genuinely had more fun talking about really anything else other than the game story itself. And it's not that the story itself is terrible. As someone who played through most of Remothered 1, I saw a lot of interesting elements that worked, or could have worked rather. It's just that this time around, the way the narrative, dialogue, character introductions, character development, and general world building are all handled, none of it has the polish that the first one did. And the first one wasn't super polished in general, so we're not going from great to terrible, but from solid to terrible. The game tries to sprinkle in tidbits of lore along the way, like the proverbial icing on the cake, but very little of it feels like it's ever in service of advancing the plot. It's just little disjointed pieces of information haphazardly tossed about. I used to think the notes and other collectible lore trivia in games like Resident Evil was a bit too direct, and generally felt disconnected from the game, but honestly in the case of this game, a disconnecting distraction would be more than welcome. I could probably bore you to death using nothing more than raw gameplay footage. There's few things more boring than unfiltered, unedited, completely unapologetic raw gameplay of this game. Also, like I indicated before, I'm moving in like a week, and I've got some more packing to do, so I'm going to leave you with this little Let's Play highlights compilation to enjoy. Trust me, you'll probably appreciate the 2 hours I condensed down for you into 6 minutes, and then I'll come back for some final thoughts. For the inevitable maybe 1 or 2 people watching ready to have some fun?
No.
Reading Mother, okay.
Yeah, so basically this is a sequel to an Italian indie horror game that came out, I want to say 2 to 3 years ago, called Remothered Tormented Fathers. This is kind of a standalone sequel, like it takes place in the same universe and features some of the same characters, but it's kind of set in a different location with a different, story. So it's kind of like Resident Evil, where, it's shared, but it's not necessarily the same.
They really are flexing the facial animation.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it, and let's put it this way. While they excel at that, they don't really excel in the areas of lip sync and a couple other things. Technical improvements.
You can't get everything right.
No, but you just see what I mean when we get in game. 20 slots for a game? Isn't that what you want to see in every game? 20 unused slots.
I want to see 3.
By the way, this game is not like a 40-hour long game. I think at most this game is going to be like 8 to 9 hours. Okay, let's do this. But before starting a new game, do you want to see a recap of the events of Remothered? Okay, yes, we're going to see that as a group, and we're going to have some fun. Okay, so where are we going, boys?
I don't know, it's too dark.
That's not helpful, Cosmo.
I want to see what's on the wall.
Wait, what, over here?
The papers.
Oh my God, you're going fast.
I'm doing my Naruto run.
Yeah, papers, those. Left.
The so-called porcelain memory.
Slowly. Go back.
Oh! I don't like this.
I don't like it either. What the
Where?
fuck?
No, they know where I am.
Oh, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Hey, you! I'm here!
What?
Run!
You haven't even started the game, really?
Get the fuck out!
Are you kidding me?
Oh, what am I supposed to do with
bad?
him?
You just started the game. Why? Around the rosy, a pocket full of posies.
Those ashes, they all come down.
There's a after me.
You started the game. How do you think after you now?
Falcon punch!
You just got big left.
Left is the window. Left.
There is no window.
There was a prompt.
I know. I saw it.
Go back. You saw it? This guy's moving as fast as me after I eat too much.
Oh, it won't do it. It won't do it if he's right behind me. Kill me.
God, that fucking noise you're making.
Shoot him.
I did shoot him. It didn't work very well. Okay, so we found.
You have to shoot at a window.
Okay, apparently we were supposed to die.
Wait, what?
We were supposed to die. We were supposed to fail.
I figured
That was
it
the
something
intro
like
of the
that.
game.
But why was there a fucking prompt then?
I don't know. I don't know. But apparently
you,
that's what we were supposed to
Narrow.
do.
Your game design's shit.
See, this is why.
Game design is better. I barely have anything made in fucking Unreal.
This is why I invited you guys along, because I knew you had to experience this with me. It gets better from here. Trust me, it's gonna get better. I promise you.
This is gonna be a study for me to what not to do.
How not to make a horror game, or really any game.
The girl is here. Shall
Oh, she looks like she's gonna be a villain. She looks
Oh,
evil.
the teeth.
I haven't really been paying
Very
attention
well.
to anything being said,
We
and I
will
don't
have
care.
to talk about this.
Well, what the hell's that face?
What's your fucking mouth? Jeez.
Darren, can you pause the game for a bit? I'm gonna get food.
Okay, I'm just gonna stand here and admire this beautiful face. This is a face only a mother could be proud of. Yes, the problem with... whoa, what the hell? Did you see that with the hair?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's been a long night, so I'm gonna take a nap. Oh, okay,
At least
apparently
the
that was a
weather-
cutscene. I didn't know that, I was just gonna
Okay,
dick around. I don't know what the delay was between that and the cutscene, that was a little weird. A little janky.
Yeah.
This isn't even at the highest setting, so I really don't know what's causing it. Oh, is
Looks
something gonna
good.
jump out at me? I swear to God, if they pull that horror trope of...
Full of mirror.
Holy shit, reflection.
No, don't touch the mirror. You're gonna get fingerprints all everywhere.
Fuck you, Lynn! Fuck you!
Is she literally like trying to...
We knew each other, but I was wrong.
What is this dialogue? Follow Andrea.
Yeah.
I think this is where Andrea went, but I could be wrong. That doesn't look healthy. Oh, okay, bye.
You were like, dude, you were like right next to her, now you're just 1 meter away.
No one types that fast. It's impossible.
It's not impossible. That's how George R. R. Martin writes.
Now he types like tick, tick, tick. I gotta get this essay done by tomorrow.
My name is Barry Allen. I'm known as the fastest typewriter alive.
Enough with the hiding!
No! I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request.
Oh, the lights.
Oh, look at that crouch walk down the stairs.
Wait. How many knives do you need to take? What is she doing? Oh my god. She's having a stroke.
Apparently I can only do it while walking.
And it's boring.
I just threw it through a door. It went through a door.
I mean,
Watch.
it has like a slot,
Watch.
so it makes sense. Oh shit. Oh, you tied to the door.
It's locked.
Yes, it's locked, even though I just put a fucking rock on it. Big brain. This is one of the worst horror games I've ever seen in terms of gameplay. Like, the visuals are nice, but the
Yeah, the
fucking
aesthetic is
gameplay
not bad
horrible.
either.
It's more fun to fuck around than it's fun to play the game.
I had no idea that Andrea was this trouble. I'm sure she's not getting better.
I'm gonna whisper this right behind her back and I hope she doesn't hear me. Hold on. I'm gonna see how close I can get.
It's unlike the operating a fucking game dog.
Look at her! She's looking right at me!
Hello.
How's it going, babe? Oh, apparently she noticed. Finally.
It's buggy as shit, and the gameplay is boring, and you got no idea what you're supposed to do.
Those are like the 3 capital sins of like any horror game. For the inevitable maybe 1 or 2 people watching that might complain I'm not giving this game enough of a chance and not giving this game a full and far more lengthy review, I would respond by emphatically stating I unequivocally gave this game far more attention than it deserves, and definitely more attention than the developers gave it, given their willingness, one might even say enthusiasm, for producing this thing that can barely be called a game, let alone entertainment, because the only way I can mentally associate the word entertainment with this game is by indicating how it makes me entertain the idea of Control-Alt-Deleting myself at the speed of sound. Do not buy this game. Don't do it. Don't think about doing it. Don't think about thinking about doing it. Do anything else you'd like with that $29.99. Go buy groceries. Go out on a date with your partner, assuming you can find somewhere Voldemort friendly to enjoy. Whatever else you'd normally do with $30, do it. As much as my normal gut instinct would be to support indie devs and smaller AA studios, this is one product I can't get behind. Unless the game gets pulled and gets an Anthem-like behind-the-scenes rework, I can't see any possibility where it's worth buying at its retail asking price. You can get a few quick laughs out of it, but it's not worth much more than that. And unless you have way more disposable income than I have, $29.99 is way too high for just a bundle of laughs. If the developers ever intend on continuing with their plan to make this into, a 5-part series? With new installments released every other year, presumably based on the current track record from what we've got so far, they've got to spend the next half a year at least polishing this turd and redeeming themselves in the eyes of the public, before daring to ask for our money again anytime in the future. I was willing to buy this game basically on day one, just based on my positive experience with the last game, but I just don't know if I'll be able to trust these developers again, simply based on their prior reputation. Let's just hope that this was a one-time fluke, and that they as a studio weren't just a one-hit wonder. But only time will tell. At any rate, I've played about as much as I can, and with that, I look forward to hopefully a month otherwise full of far more interesting titles to critique and review. Or at the very least, if I can't find an interesting game, I want to play one that at least doesn't make me want to throw myself off the astronomy tower of Hogwarts Castle. If you want to support this channel and what I do on it, there are a number of ways to do so, without costing you even a penny. For those that haven't already done so, I encourage you to consider clicking the subscribe button and also pressing the bell icon to opt into getting notifications so you can be among the first to know when a new video goes live. I can tell that some of you have already done so, and I appreciate it. The more of you that get notified and watch one of my videos in the first 24 hours, the more likely that video gets boosted in the search algorithms, and the more new viewers that pour in. I'm hoping to cross over 1,000 subscribers this month. That'd be a nice way to cap off the month. Likewise, leaving a comment really helps. Plus, it's fun for me to chat with people. I usually respond to most comments on the channel. Pretty active, so if you're looking to get my attention, I promise you the best way to do so is by leaving a comment. Hitting the like button also really helps the video too, so any way you can help, I appreciate it. And thank you to those of you that have already subscribed and followed the work I do. It's thanks to your support that I've been able to do what I do. I'm grateful. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody. Stay safe and peace out.